Thanks, Mary.
It's so nice to be back at one of these meetings. I have missed these regular check-ins with other Westover parents since my daughter graduated. As Ashley said, my daughter graduated last year, and I'm also a board member. And I am serving on the head transition committee. So I am working to transition Polly in as our next head, ensuring that it is a smooth transition, myself with a team, a smooth transition, and that she gets to meet everyone she needs to meet, that everyone who needs to get in front of her gets in front of her, and that she sort of like learns about Westover as quickly and efficiently as possible so she can both hit the ground running and keep running as soon as she gets here. The first opportunity we will have for parents to interact with Polly or the first in-person, is going to be April 1st, at an evening cocktail party. I think time still to be scheduled. If I'd love feedback if people are like, what time is that? But she's going to be here for the weekend. She will be doing, she will be at Accepted Students Days to interact with potential incoming students and talk to those families. She also has a daughter who, I don't know if you know or not, will be joining as a student. So her daughter's coming as an accepted student to check out Westover for the first time, though pretty sure she's gonna come. And then she'll have the weekend to meet with parents, meeting with alums. She'll do a student event as well. We also have opportunities to have her come speak to the parents virtually. So I will be working with Ashley and Mary to schedule that. And I would love to hear what else parents think we should be thinking about in this transition. How do you think we should best transition her with parents? What other opportunities do you think we should be having for parents to get in front of you that we might not have been thinking about? We are very open to any suggestions, thoughts, whatever. I am putting in the chat the transition team email, so you have it, and so it's there, and it can be emailed out afterwards. We're always available, but I think I have a few minutes on the agenda, so I would love if people have thoughts. If you've been at a previous school that had a head transition and you saw something that was done and you were like, that was really cool, every school should do this, please, I want that information. If you're like, oh, they did this, it was terrible, don't do that, I want that information. Any thoughts, ideas, suggestions, questions? I'm open.
Awesome, thank you. Yeah, does anyone have any thoughts? Or I don't know if people that are going to think about it and prefer to email. I just, for me personally, I just think, as much interaction as we can get with her, I think would be great for people to start to get to know her. And I think probably in more informal and sort of small group settings, as opposed to her getting up and speak, like a big speech, it'd be great to just have sort of opportunities to chat and get to know her.
Absolutely.
Awesome. If there's no questions, then I think we'll move on for now to Caitlin. And I think you have an admissions update for us, right?
Yes, I do. It's been an exciting day. It's been an exciting few weeks. And I just want to thank everyone for their patience and their communication. And you guys are really great. This is my first year going through the re-enrollment season as part of Westover. I'm bringing in a lot of new ideas. Some parents are like, whoa, what's going on? I'm here with you guys working through anything that you guys need. I'm here to be a tool to support and advocate for your child. So thank you for everything. I'm really excited. We already have an amazing group coming in. So today is the re-enrollment deadline. We are still working with a handful of families to get their enrollment agreements in. So in those capacities, which is fine. But I'm excited to say this time last year, we had 16 re-enrollment families. This year we are, I'm still getting emails into tonight. We have over 65. So that is really exciting to know where we are stepping forward into the enrollment season with new students. To know that there's so many committed families to continuing their time here at Westover. And so we're really excited. It's been really a pleasure to get to know your families more throughout this process. So if you're a family that has questions or things like that with your re-enrollment agreement, please feel free to reach out. Call me, email me. I'm very open to having those conversations. More exciting news. We have a total of over 300 inquiries for the 23-24 school year, which is phenomenal. And it has resulted in 135 plus applications. And as of right now, we have about 120 completed applications to look at. Our priority deadline was January 15th, with some kind of floating into January 31st. As of right now, reviewing those applications, we have about 70 students that we are accepting. Acceptances are going out March 10th. And we're really excited for some of our domestic and international families to get really cute acceptance boxes. We have keychains made by our Y Center. We have exciting programming on our campus for our prospective students to visit, and really showing our sustainability model with our beehives and things like that. So we're really excited to see this class come in and possibly just make Westover that much better than what it is. With that being said, we are hosting an Accepted Students Day. This gives a chance for students that have been accepted to Westover to get a full day, both student and families, of what it's like to be part of the Westover community. So what does that entail? It includes a specialized academic schedule, a little bit abbreviated because we want them to experience everything, some specialized stuff on campus. This Accepted Students Day is on March 31st, and it's a full day of programming from 8 a.m. to about 2:30, 3 o'clock. And one of the things that I'm really excited about is that we're giving an opportunity right at the beginning of the morning to do a welcome and then a parent reception while the prospective students are off doing fun things on campus. And I would love to take that opportunity to have current Westover families to come and share what it's like to be part of the Westover community as a parent. It's about a 45 to an hour slot. I would love to have a bunch of families there sharing their experiences as well as interacting with some of our prospective families. I think it's a really great opportunity for you guys to give back to the school, but also get to brag about your kids a little bit, and what are some awesome things that they're doing within our community. So that is around 8:30 on March 31st in the morning. In addition, say you can't dedicate a particular day or time to giving back to Westover or trying to get involved, and you want to be a parent ambassador and try to get involved in one way or another. We are planning on kind of doing a call or email campaign to our accepted families. So we're going to ask a handful of current parents to either reach out by call, text, or email, whatever you're most comfortable with, to prospective families that have been accepted, just to say, hey, I'm here as a resource. If you have any questions, or if you have questions that I can't answer, I can point you in the right direction to someone who can. And I think just giving people as many opportunities to connect with people and answering questions will be really great. We were just talking about how it would be really great for new families to have like a mentor family and connect when they're enrolled here at Westover as that first year bridge. So we're really trying to come up with creative ideas to connect our current families and prospective families. And you may be asking, why are you doing all this? Like, you go to Westover, whatever, they're enrolled. And the reason why is that we want families to feel that one-on-one experience that you guys feel as a current family, of knowing that not only are you going to be important when they're enrolled, but even before that we're going to start that work. So that yield process is really exciting. On a more technical piece, our yield is about 50%. So half of the students we accept, we actually get to come to Westover. So we would love to have that yield number go up, but also show the love and who we are as a community. And I think right now in our acceptance process, we're not doing the best in the way that we can to do that. So I think what a better way than to get you guys involved, in addition to other things in our office. With that also being said, one of the things that Mary let me know and that we spoke about as a calendar committee after the last PAC meeting is that in general, speaking of getting involved in the community, you guys want to know what's happening on campus, off campus in the coming weeks, in the coming months. So we actually are making sure that everything that you guys can possibly get is accessible to you guys on the hub for what your child's schedule is going to look like. So when you log in, I use Mrs. Nelson's, little hub as an example. So when you go to your hub login, when you go to the calendar, it'll show your children's calendars and like what their schedules are. All you have to do is click that off. And what that actually shows you is what are some things that you need to know that are coming up on the Westover calendar. For example, we have some senior workshops, we have some student traditions, spring break, but you can actually see everything that's coming up in the coming weeks, in the coming months. We will make sure to update this, especially for next year, for dates for you to know over the summer and into the fall. And what are some, special traditions and things like that will be coming up, like Lantern or Orchid, things like that. What are some upcoming PAC meetings as well? So get those on your schedule as well. So this is definitely something that's here for families to utilize. And again, if you guys have any questions on how to access that, just let us know and I'll be able to show you one-on-one. But just to recap everything, I know I have a short amount of time and I'm trying to be respectful of all of that. We're excited with where we are with re-enrollment. We're super excited with our pool of applicants and students that we're hopefully accepting. We're excited to have Polly here for a revisit day or acceptance students day on March 31st. And we'd love to have you as families involved. And I know Mary has a way for you guys to get in touch with me to hopefully get that ball rolling. So thank you. And I think that's all I got.
Caitlin, there's one question that maybe you can answer in the chat. Can you, about the grades, first year, second year, third year, et cetera, admission applications?
Sure. Hold on. Give me 1 second and I can pull up that information. I do have to say that a majority of our applicants do sit in 9th grade, but we do have quite a few throughout the grades. Applications in process. Here we go. So we have 100 grade 9 applicants, 26 grade 10, and 12 grade 11 applicants. Right now, we do not have any grade 12 applicants. So I hope that information is helpful.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So Caitlin, if people are interested in volunteering to do these calls or emails or whatever, should they contact you? Should they contact us and we'll direct them to you? How do you want to handle that?
Definitely you can email me directly. I just put my email in the chat. Or if you just so happen to speak to Mrs. Nelson or speak to Mary, whatever, they know smoke signals, emails, how to get me. We're also at admission@westoverschool.org if that's easier to remember as well.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Chelsea and Amy for a Res Life update. I don't know who's going to go first or.
Hi, everyone. I think I'll do the bulk of the update tonight, and Amy will jump in as we go. But I'm so excited to be joining you all tonight. I don't think I've had the chance to meet many of you. So for those of you that I have not met, I am Chelsea Brown, and I have been the Director of Residential Life since this past July. And I live on campus with my family, and I have 2 little kids, Parker and Maisie, and they love living here more than I do, especially riding their scooters up and down the hall. And this is my 2nd academic year at Westover. I was a dorm faculty member last year, had many of your students on corridor. And prior to that, I've spent the bulk of my career working on college campuses, but I have found a particular knack for boarding schools, and I'm really enjoying being here. I may be a bit biased, but I think that I have one of the best jobs on campus, and I really enjoy spending time with all of your students during the day. I really believe that all students, both boarding and day, are in residence when they're on campus, and therefore our residential life program is for everyone. So a few updates just about residential life in particular. It's been a busy year. We've onboarded 3 new staff members. 2 were brand new to the Westover community. Ileana Sandoval and Katie Halleck Hendrickson are both living in our dorm. Katie is also working in the admissions office, doing the summer program and auxiliary programs. And brand new to the dorm, but not to Westover, is Becca Gracie, who also works in the admissions office. And we're thankful to have had Marcy Bruder and Regina Peterson return and really provide strong leadership for our team. This fall and moving into the winter and spring, our curriculum has focused almost entirely on community building post-pandemic. We, as you all are very aware of, we did introduce day students back to Corridor and are working closely with our student leaders and with other interested students to expand that day student experience on Corridor. One of the other things that we have been constantly working through and modifying is our evening study hall procedures to account for a multitude of learning styles and to empower independence in all of our learners. So this year, all grade levels 9 through 11. Seniors have a privilege of not having required study hours, may now study in their rooms in the evenings and can sign out to another study location. And that's gone over really well. Dorm faculty apartments have been open again. That's something that our students have missed the past few years. And I can report that this fall, we've received a lot of great feedback about living rooms and snack and movie nights and reality TV watching parties. We also recently installed new TVs in 2 lounges per floor. So there's now some more gathering spaces, particularly around TV watching and gameplay on the TVs in our lounges. And looking ahead, our student leaders are planning social outings for their corridors after spring break, and information on roommate and room selection for next year will be available after break as well. So that's all coming up. I also want to provide a brief update on our consortium partnerships and social activities. That's another hat I wear at Westover as our director of weekend and social activities. So our weekend activities this year have expanded to once again include social events with our consortium schools, and those are running almost weekly. The schools in our consortium currently are Trinity Pauling, Salisbury, Avon Old Farms, Ethel Walker, South Kent, Miss Porter's, the Woodhull School, and Emma Willard. And we also have socialized with a few other more local co-ed schools, which include Westminster, Taft, and Cheshire Academy. Some consortium events of note this year have been a trip to Six Flags in August, the haunted scene at Quasi in October. We did some grade specific events where 9th and 10th grades went to one school and 11th and 12th graders went to another on a select Saturday night. We went to a hockey game at Salisbury and most recently a semi-formal at Ethel Walker. We also have hosted a student of color event here at Westover, and we have 2 additional consortium events that we as Westover are hosting on campus after spring break. It's been really fun to work with our student organizations and just enthusiastic classmates who have inspiration for hosting on our campus and who are connected to students from other schools. I hear more about what's going on at other schools from the students who are texting their friends from those schools saying, hey, why didn't we get invited to this party that I hear my friend from this school is going to? And so that's been really fun. And for you all, I hope to begin posting more information about our regular weekend social activities, maybe via Westover Connect pretty soon, so that you all can remind students that even when they say there's nothing to do, that you know better. And then the last brief update I want to provide is to just take a brief moment to share updates on our summer storage policy that's impacting our boarding students a little bit. Beginning this summer, our boarding students are no longer able to store items in dorm room closets over the summer months. This was announced at the end of the fall semester. The rationale for this policy change is multifold, but in short, we want to be sure that our student items are better protected and that they're more easily transitioned from room to room in between academic years and through our new and improved robust Welcome Week orientation program. In order to accommodate this policy change, we've established a relationship with a company called Dorm Room Movers, and they work with many boarding schools across Connecticut, across the country, and within our consortium, and have come highly recommended. Some information about Dorm Room Movers has already been shared with families and students, particularly about this transition. But please be on the lookout for another email communication coming your way on Wednesday, this coming week. The online portal for registration is open, and information to sign up and to start to explore that portal will be available on Wednesday. I understand that this is a change, but Amy and I both remain firm that this is the best path forward in supporting our boarding students, especially with the big transition between school years. And I just want to remind you that I'm available to answer questions about this and other things moving forward. And I'm also happy to work directly, even though our relationship with Dorm Room Movers is one where you as a family establish a relationship with the company. I'm happy to work with you or your student directly to help set up a portal, decide what storage options are best, explore other options if Dorm Room Movers is something. It's a partnership we have, but you're welcome to explore other storage options off campus if you would like. So please don't hesitate to communicate with me via phone or email, or encourage your students to stop by and see me while they're on campus. I saw a few things come up in the chat. Yes, go ahead.
So I was just, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Caitlin. Yep.
Yeah, no. So in another life, I was a director of student life and residential life, and I worked with Dorm Room Movers for many years, and they are a phenomenal company. They make sure that they are vetting the companies that are storing students' materials. It makes sure that from an insurance standpoint, making sure that nothing is ruined, things like that. And I think it's a really great move that Westover is moving towards partnering with Dorm Room Movers, because it also is assurance for your child's belongings over the summer as well. Heaven forbid anything happens in a building, things like that. So I definitely think I can't say nothing but great things about my experience about working with them, both individually and independently with kids and their families, as well as a school. So I know this is something different for Westover, and it's a different feel, and there's a lot of questions and unknowns. But when Chelsea and Amy say that they've done their vetting and things like that, they do come very highly recommended, and we wouldn't suggest it otherwise. So I'm sorry, I just had to put a shameless plug in there. Sorry, Chelsea.
Thank you, Caitlin. Amy did respond about day students having a space to go back to on corridor. And I just want to briefly touch on that our student leaders and also non-position holding students who are exemplifying and embodying all that it means to be a leader by having feedback and wanting to see it through, and are really trying to leave Westover better than they had it, have been working really, really hard to push forward and to establish a new vision for day students on corridor that embodies all of the experiences that in particular our senior students remember having before COVID, and also takes into account all of the great ways that we can even better expand and broaden community building between day students and boarders, specifically on the corridor location moving forward. So yes, the plan is to have a space for them to go back to. It may not look exactly as it did, and the students have been the ones to acknowledge that and come up with some really awesome new ideas and new ways to see that come forward. And absolutely more to come on that. We will be sure that there's communication to families around the time that this more introductions of day students on corridor come available, so that we can all partner to make sure it's the best transition experience possible for our students.
That sounds great. Thank you, Chelsea. I did want to acknowledge we're a little bit ahead of schedule. So if there are people that have questions for you or for Caitlin that have come up that they want to ask now, I just wanted to give people a minute to either put those in the chat or to unmute themselves and ask.
Please.
And then I'll sort of see where we are with that. Are there any questions? All right, maybe not. I think you guys, I mean, I feel like you're providing a ton of information, and it sounds like I think we'll be really excited to see the new plan for the day students on quarter to roll out after break. Okay, so then next on our agenda, we have Jack Dwiggins, who's going to talk to us about Model UN and mock trial.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so Mary, are you going to put up some photos? Okay, yeah. So Mary made a slideshow, and along the lines, I think of bragging about our kids and just talking about some of the great things that they've been doing, and some of the new programs that a new program that I'm kind of getting off the ground this year, and an old program that I'm reviving. The new one being mock trial, and the old one being Model UN. So I started a mock trial team this fall. 24 students were interested in joining the team. And so we put together 2 different teams to go compete at the regional mock trial competition in Danbury back in December. Every team in the state, the way it works, every team in the state is given the same fictional case to work on. And this comes complete with exhibits, with witness statements, with witness affidavits. And then we argue either the plaintiff or the defense side of the case against another school. And so, the students had to learn kind of everything involved in an actual trial, making opening statements, making closing statements and rebuttals. We got to question our own witnesses, question the other side's witnesses. We got to object to questions and they objected to ours. So it's really, there was a lot of preparation that went into it, kind of like learning how to make an argument that will hold up in court. And then also a lot of, quick thinking and public speaking and improvisation and adaptability. Students on the team worked with 2 legal advisors, Tatiana De Silva, who is actually an alum. So it was great that they got to meet her. And that she got to come in and work with those students. And we had a second legal advisor named Tom Johnson, who was a prosecutor in the Philadelphia area for about 40 years, and then recently retired and moved up here. So we were great to have his involvement too. And he had a lot of experience and a lot of wisdom that he kind of passed on to them as they helped build their case. So we didn't win our case this year, but I was very proud of everybody. The team we went up against, it turns out they were the team that won states last year. So we were up against the state champs on our very first go. We were up against a school that, they started their program in middle school. But the thing is, kind of watching our team up against this team, I honestly thought that we were a pretty even match against them. And I think that we really kind of gave them a run for their money. Them having prepared for this since they were in 6th grade and us just kind of trying it out for the first time. So they all did a really impressive job. Next year, we're going to offer mock trial as a class in the history department, as well as, some students being able to be involved outside of class if they can't sign up for the class. But I think with more time, to work on it in class, we'll really get to master a lot of these different aspects of it. And I can kind of feel, I think we're going to win state next year. So I'm calling that right now, future state champs, Westover. And then with that over in the spring semester now, those same students have kind of turned their attention to Model United Nations, Model UN. So while mock trial is a simulation of a trial, Model UN is, of course, a simulation of diplomacy at the UN. And I'm really happy to report we received funding this year to be able to take 8 students to a conference in Washington, D.C. in April. And I've been to this conference a few times in the past. This is a great conference run by George Washington University. So I get to pick 8 students to take down there for the weekend. Some of the problems that they're going to be researching and discussing at this conference are things like reducing foreign interference in elections and militarization of space and access to vaccines, all these big global issues. They're going to research and represent the country and then work with students really from all over the country to try to debate a solution. This is a pretty big national conference. So next year, hopefully we'll get to go to this one again. We're also looking at some more local conferences at UConn and Yale that we'll try to go to. And so the students have just been really excited about these new opportunities and kind of really taken to them very well. And it's been a fun year working with them.
Thank you. Just a couple questions that I had gotten is one is this group like, do you have to be a specific grade level or is it open to all of the students?
So, Model UN is open to everybody. Mock trial's been open to everybody this year. With making it a class next year, that is a priority is given to 11th and 12th graders for that class. But again, a lot of our most involved students this year were ninth graders. And so, I hope to keep them involved in everything. And some students who want to take the class won't be able to fit it into their schedule for whatever reason. So yeah, I'm going to kind of see how it shakes out next year as far as who signs up for the class and then who else is interested and try to work out like a club version of it where students who aren't able to take the class can still be involved. And yeah, I'd like to kind of continue to offer 2 teams each year. And one of those teams can be the class, and then another team can be a team that does it as a club.
Wonderful. Thank you. Are there any other questions for Jack? Sure. Look. All right. I don't see anyone there. All right. Thanks so much. I appreciate that. I look forward to learning more about it and hearing more about it. I'm going to hold you to that state champs next year. Looking forward to that. All right, next on our agenda, we have Alana for exchange programs.
Hi, everyone. If I haven't met you, my name is Alana Grainsky. I'm the director of the Raisin Center for Global Justice. I was here meeting with you all a few months back where I gave an overview of some of the work that the Raisin Center was doing. But I'm here today to talk specifically about our exchange programs. Mary, if you wouldn't mind hopping, this is the last slide. So over the past few months, TW, it's probably going to play all the national anthems like it did in assembly. Over the past few months, we've been working really hard, TW and I, to reestablish some of the partnerships that we've had with schools in the past. And so I'm here tonight to sort of give you an update on what those partnerships look like now moving into next school year so that you can be thinking about them with your students and sort of give you an opportunity to ask questions and think about if one of these programs might be right for your child. So Downhouse is up first, which I'm going to talk about in a second for next year, but it's exciting that right now, about just under about 22 hours ago, 2 of our Westover students left US soil, headed for London. So Blake and Guzzle are currently at Downhouse for their exchange. And from everything we've heard so far, things are going just swimmingly. The uniforms are real and it is very exciting. So they are in England for the next 3 weeks. And then soon after that, we'll be welcoming 2 students from Downhouse back to Westover to experience our school. And we're in the process right now of figuring out what classes they're going to attend and what afternoon activities they're going to do and help make sure that their time at Westover is really meaningful and exciting. But for next year, so all of these are applications, we're going to be sending out 1 application for students. and with all of these exchange programs. So we're announcing them all at the same time, and the applications will be for all of them. We're encouraging students to choose the one exchange program they're most interested in and apply specifically for that. So the first one is our Downhouse partnership. This is changing. So currently it says it's available for it. This year, we were sending 2 freshmen, 2 ninth graders. Next year, we're going to be sending 2 10th graders. So the Downhouse exchange is going to be open to the same students that it was this year. And moving forward, it will be open just to sophomores. So freshmen, students who are currently freshmen now, who are interested in going to England will have that opportunity. It's a lot easier and on our end to already know the students for the process, and so this is probably a better option. So the students will go to Downhouse over spring break and the week before, like they are right now, and then the exchange students come back later in April. Our next exchange program will be in Sevilla, Spain, and this exchange program is available for all students who are enrolled in Spanish 2 or higher, or have taken Spanish 2 or higher. It is a much longer exchange. It is 2.5 months, starting from January of next school year through mid-March. Their students will be coming to us earlier. So they're going to be joining us at the start of next school year.
One of my best friends is my daughter's.
And coming and staying through November. So in this case, the students from the school in Spain will be coming to us first, and our students will be going to them second. Next up, we've got France. So our students who take French are able to also enjoy and potentially apply for an exchange program. This partnership is with the school in France where students have to be enrolled in French 3 or higher. The school in Spain, there is a lot of English spoken at the school. There's less of that in the French exchange. They are both immersion programs. However, this one is a slightly more intense immersion. So the students do need a little bit higher level of language proficiency to be able to fully engage with the exchange. This is a 1.5 months, same sort of timeline for us, going January through mid-February. So sort of imagine your students will leave right after the new year. And we are going to be welcoming those students, their exchange students, back to us October of this coming year into November. I'm very excited about this next exchange program. This is with our school in Jordan. This is the oldest existing partnership that Westover has had with an exchange program. It started with a Jordanian princess coming to Westover, and they've got lots of, the partnership has a lot of rich history to it, and we're really excited that we'll be able to do it again. This is going to be open for students who are currently sophomores or juniors, meaning that next year they will be juniors or seniors. It is 6 weeks from early November through December, and the students again will be coming for the start of next school year through November from Jordan. And lastly, we have our partner school, St. Mary's in Perth, Australia. The students are very excited about this one. We are welcoming students who are currently in 10th grade, who will be entering 11th grade. And this trip is going out soon. It's this summer. So 7 weeks, mid-July through late August. So just a few months from now. And then we are scheduled to organize this in such a way that the Australian students will come back on even the same flight with the students from Westover. So they'll be coming back here together, and then the Australian students will be here from August to October. So all of this is a lot of information, and obviously there are a lot of questions that Mary, I believe there's one more slide. So there's going to be a parent information session led by TW and I on March 22nd. You don't need to reshare the screen, but could you just confirm for me that that's the date? I believe it is. Yes, okay, on March 22nd, we're going to be hosting a meeting for families who are interested and want to know more, essentially a real Q&A about all of the nitty-gritty when it comes to what is entailed in these programs. However, the application for students is due soon after. So I wanted to come here tonight and talk you through any questions that you have. And I'm fully available, and TW is fully available to talk to you more at any point in time if your students are expressing interest in one of these programs. It is, very much the students have quite the experience when they go, but it also is a family experience for all of you when you welcome students back here as being a host family. And so helping you navigate that and really working collectively with families as a team is my priority and TW's priority. I mean, TW was at the airport last night, making sure the students got off the ground safe and sound with everything that they needed. And so it's a really exciting time for Westover and our exchange programs. One other thing that I just want to say before I go down, I see that there are many questions in the chat. If we are also, hopefully, these are what we have available for next year, and we are still on a mission to expand our exchange programs and find more opportunities. And so if you have connections to schools in other parts of the world that you think, or even in the United States, there's been a lot of discussion amongst students about interest in having domestic exchanges, specifically even for international students to experience a different part of the United States. So we are definitely in the building process and are happy to mind meld and brainstorm with anybody who wants to who has ideas about other places and other schools around the world that we could partner with. This is, in a way, just a start, but an exciting one.
Alana, can I add one thing really quickly as well?
Absolutely, Chelsea.
From a residential life perspective, I also just want to clarify that all of our exchanges currently host all exchange students in the dormitory.
Yes.
So if your student is a day student and engages in an exchange program, you would not necessarily be hosting taking on that responsibility of hosting the exchange student at your home locally, and all of our exchanges are operating that way, location to location. So our students are going to dormitories and students come here. We do have that scenario happening right after spring break, where Ghazal has identified another room on campus where with ninth grade friends that will be hosting the student in the dorm, and then they'll all be spending time together. And so that's also something that I just want you to take into consideration when considering these opportunities from a day student perspective.
Thanks, Chelsea. I'm thrilled to hear that Blake is doing awesome. Thanks, Wanda. We've gotten some funny little snippets and videos from them so far, it's making our day. To answer, French is available for seniors next year. It's the French and Spanish immersion trips are available for students of any grade level, sophomore and above. And yes, any other questions?
I had a quick question, Alana. So when you're looking at that form, and it says for 10th graders, it means 10th graders now.
Yes.
Okay. Even if the
Yes.
trip is next year.
Yep. So that, yes, everything on that document is reflective of this, the students at the age they are right now, they're the ones that can apply for the trip. Yeah. So if it says open to ninth graders, it means that they would be going their sophomore year. A little confusing. We had to make a decision on which way.
Thank you. I thought that was it, but I wanted to be sure.
Alana, can you just talk quickly about how you're communicating this with the students?
Yes, so this is actually a PowerPoint that we just shared with students last week during assembly, and we've been holding Q&A sessions with the students periodically as we've had like significant updates and information for them during lunchtime. The students constantly come into the Raisin Center, and our doors are always open to have conversations with them about these trips too. So they know all of this information. They have been sent the application. One of the things that's really important in that application are the teacher recommendations or faculty recommendations. They have to get two members of the Westover community to vouch for them and write them letters. So we've been encouraging them to ask for those sooner than later and not wait till the last minute. That application process is a bit lengthy because it does require that families also consider how they might support, even if they are very far away, the students who would be coming here, the partner families. Yes, I hope that's helpful.
Thank you. I did want to mention too, I don't know if you saw the note that Mary put in the chat that Alana does have to leave pretty quickly after this. So if you have a question for her, please unmute yourself now or put it in the chat quick, because she will not be around at the end when we do our general open questions.
I'll also write my email in the chat, and I am very happy to answer questions at any point in time. That is no problem at all. So even if it doesn't come to you now, or you're talking to your kid and they're like, I want to go to Jordan, and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm here. We'll get through it together.
Thanks so much, Alana.
Absolutely.
Okay, if there aren't any other questions for Alana right now, I think next we have Marla, you have something to say about
I'm
Dorcas?
sorry. Can I ask a quick question? This is Rita.
Sure.
Etty. Alana, where do we find the information you just displayed on the different locations?
It's in the agenda, and I will go ahead and make that the presentation available to anybody. There's nothing in it that is private or confidential, so you should be able to click on the agenda. No,
That-
Mary, is that not the case?
We will add it into the next weekly email.
Okay, that's where it will be. Thank you, Mary. It'll be in the next weekly email.
Thank you.
Thanks. All right, so Marla, did you have something to share about Dorcas?
Hi, everybody. Sure. Thank you so much, Ashley. My name is Marla Truini, and I'm the theater director, but I'm also the freshman class dean. And I also help with the Dorcas Fair, which was yesterday. And the students did a fantastic job. And as part of the Dorcas Fair, which is a fundraiser for the Malala Fund for Yousefzai Malala Yousefzai, I always mispronounce her name, but we are all familiar with Malala and the amazing work that she's doing. And the fund raising part of the event is what happened at the fair yesterday, and also a silent auction that is online. So Mary, thank you so much for putting that link in the chat. If you haven't had a chance to go into the silent auction, there's still time. It ends at midnight tonight. And there are many lovely baskets, handmade crafts, gift cards, and days of beauty. The students have been fantastically creative, and it's been such a pleasure helping them put this auction together. And anybody who wants to can just click on that link and go in and place a bid. So take a look around. I think you'll be quite delighted to see the offerings, and all the money that we raise will go to the Malala Fund to support those in need, and our amazing junior class who's done such a great job. We'll be so grateful for your support. So if you have any questions, pop them in the chat. I'd be happy to answer them. But in the meantime, please take a look. You'll be sad not to. And we still have, what is it, 8 o'clock? Not even, so 4 more hours. Go in and start a bidding war. Okay, thanks so much, everybody.
Wonderful. Thank you, Marla. All right. Next we have Barbara is going to give us a prom update. Barbara, there you are. I see you.
There we go. Can you all hear me? Thank you for giving me the opportunity to make a little pitch here to all participants. The prom for the junior and senior class this year is being held at Quasi, which is a local amusement park right around the corner from Westover. And as you might imagine, as an amusement park, it's a little bit of a departure from the normal prom venue. and we need a little help zhuzhing it up. The students, I met with 4 of the students, one of which was Kendall, to go over what they would like to see in this space. To give you a sense, it is an outdoor pavilion with a roof and open sides, picnic style tables, and as part of the event, they will have dinner and a DJ from, I think, like 6 o'clock to 8:30. And then the park is going to be open from 8:30 to 10, or Amy can correct me if I have those hours wrong, but somewhere in that time frame. So the students were going to, the plan is they will all get dressed in their prom finery. And then when the rides open, they can change. There's changing area at the beach house, so they can put on their shorts, their leggings, their t-shirts, whatever, and then go ride the rides until the end of the evening. In order to make that pavilion look like what the students want, and they asked me to not share what their idea was, so it's supposed to be a surprise and a secret, so I cannot divulge that. We need to do a lot of primping of that area, and so we are asking parents not only to help the day of, I think the date is Saturday, May 13th, I'm pretty sure, to help set up prior to the event, but also if you are willing to donate, we need things like potted plants, pre-lit artificial trees. We need help creating the table arrangements, which will work within the theme. So there might be specific objects that we're looking for. We're also hoping to beg, borrow, not steal outdoor furniture to create like a little lounge area. So once the kids are done eating and they don't want to be dancing, they can have another area to sit. Thank you, Amy. Prom is Saturday, May 13th from 6:30 to 10:30. I don't know if Marla is still on here, because Marla was one of the people I was going to reach out to the theater department to see if they had any props that we could possibly borrow as well. I can type my email in. Mary was kind enough to send out an email asking for support, and we had 3 people respond. So if you're interested, I'm happy to have the help, or we're happy to have the help. So we just want to make it a very lovely spot for them and a memorable experience for them, for the juniors and seniors this year for the prom. So here's my email if anybody has any questions. And other than that, that is all I have to report.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I just had one question, but I don't know if you'll know the answer to this.
Oops.
Are
Yep.
parents welcome to come to campus to do photography before the prom?
We did last year.
Yeah.
So
That's what
I don't
thought,
know.
but I didn't know if
Amy,
there's like an official.
I know that they're creating a spot at Quasi for them to take photographs, but I don't know. I mean, I would think that maybe some of the seniors would still like to have a few photos of their last year on campus. So I don't know. I don't know who answers that question. Amy?
Yep, the seniors can certainly come, the prom committee can certainly come and say, we would like that, and then we would make that happen. And yes, there is a spot at Quasi that's all dedicated to that as well. But that certainly is a student-led decision. If they want it, they can have that beforehand for sure.
Awesome. Thank you. All right, next, we're going to talk a little bit about faculty and staff appreciation that we had planned. I'm trying to look and see if Tanya was able to get on the call tonight. I don't think she was able to make it on tonight, so I can just go over it briefly. So we have had a faculty and staff appreciation breakfast planned for our wonderful faculty and staff. It has been now needed to be rescheduled twice due to factors outside of our control. But we are very excited that we have it back on the schedule. The first one for Thursday, March 2nd. And setup would be from 9:15 to 9:45. Is that correct, Mary, for the timing? And Tanya has it all organized. We just are looking for a few parents to sort of show up and help out a little bit and greet people as they arrive, say thank yous, express our appreciation for all the faculty and staff and all that they've done for us. There is also another one planned or in the planning stages for it's Thursday also, I believe, May 4th, and that one will be at 7:45 a.m. If you would like to participate, to show up, or if you can't be there in person, but you want to contribute to help defray the cost, you can certainly reach out to me, or you can reach out to Tanya, and I will put her email in the chat in just a moment. But definitely, feel free to reach out, and we're excited to actually have it happen and go forward, and hopefully that our faculty and staff will feel the love and appreciation that we all feel for them. If there are any questions about that.
So just one more time, this Thursday, the event will be a breakfast that starts at 9, so 9 to 9:30, and hoping parents who want to come, parents and guardians who want to come around 9 or 9:15. And then at 9:30, there'll be an all faculty and staff meeting. So right at 9:30, have an opportunity to share some appreciation with faculty and staff. And then the one in a couple of weeks, the one in May, it would start at 7:45, make sure everything is all set up. And then at 8 o'clock, we'd have an opportunity to share some appreciation. So this one is just a little bit later than what we were typically expecting before, but you can come have some breakfast with them as well, with all of us, and then just say nice, just share some gratitude.
Thanks, Mary. Yeah, I didn't have the timing quite right because I know it changed since last we had chatted. But let me you put Tanya's stuff in there already. Awesome. So yeah, definitely, if you're interested, please feel free to reach out, and we'd love to have, anyone there that would like to express appreciation. All right, next on the agenda, we have Mara Kiggy-Ford, who is the new director of the Westover Fund. Mara, there you are.
Hi, thank you. It's great to be here and hear everybody. And it's almost been 2 months, and I have to say it's been a tremendous experience being part of the Westover community and the newest member of the alumni and development team. So I'm really excited. And I just want to share, I know Mary, in the agenda, there's a link. If you're so inspired to make a contribution, if you haven't already, you can do that through the link on the agenda. The Westover Fund is really, really important for the school. Every year, there's a gap between the amount of revenue that comes in and the expenses that we need to cover. And the Westover Fund is really crucial in meeting that gap. I think it's about 39%. So the donations that we receive from the Westover Fund support a lot of different things, but you can choose your area of interest or support. And those are all listed when you go onto the site and click on the link. We have the area of greatest need, which is basically the unrestricted gifts that help us meet the needs of the school with the most flexibility. Financial aid, 64% of the students receive critical financial aid. So supporting financial aid is always a tremendous way to support the students. The Westover Mosaic Pooled Scholarship is also a scholarship investing in the next generation of students of color. So that's a newer scholarship program. We have the Arts and Athletics option, which promotes the creative endeavors of our students, which are, I have to say, walking through the halls of the school and looking at the artwork that's hanging. It's amazing to see what the Westover students create. And also the athletic piece is fun to go and watch the different competitions. So that's a good option. And then we have campus stewardship and sustainability, technology, and student life. So those are the options that you'll find when you click on the link, or if you go to the website. So we appreciate your support. For those of you who have already made donations, we are very grateful. The next big exciting thing for the Westover Fund is Westover Day, which you will be hearing more about in your mailboxes in the next few weeks. But that is on April 4th this year. And very excited to report that we have a $100,000 anonymous donor who has made a challenge, a match challenge for us that will help us reach a $200,000 goal if we can get to $100,000 on Westover Day. So that's, we're really excited about that. And there are lots of ways to help support that. If anybody has interest, please let me know. We will be sending information out. But if you want to help, you're always welcome. And you can come and see me at Hillard House when you're coming to campus. We have a great meeting space in the middle of the archives, which are very fascinating. And we have a lot of fun people in the office. So feel free to stop by. Mary, did I miss anything?
Nope, I don't think so. Thank you, Mara.
So anyway, and I look forward to meeting everybody in person. It's really been a great 2 months. So I hope I can help all your students have everything they need to be confident and connected leaders.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm going to just jump in next. I wanted to share, I know that we've talked about this a little bit on these calls in the past, and we've sent out some communications, but I just wanted to show you all Westover Connect. So Westover Connect is the engagement portal site that is available within the Westover community. We just launched it with faculty and staff, so some of them have recently joined. Alums are on here, and there are a few parents that are on here, but I'm just going to pull up Westover Connect so you can all see it, and just show you what a great site this is, and encourage you to join. Mara, can you type westoverconnect.org in the chat? So here's the site. It looks a lot like Facebook. It looks a lot like things that you've seen before. So we post a couple of times a week, but you are also welcome to post on here if you'd like. So just some interesting information, stories. Diana, one of our students who's a Ukrainian student, sent a message to all faculty and staff this weekend. And so we wanted to share that with you. There's information on here about Dorcas. I put information on the call, about the call in here. So we always try to keep this updated. There's a section under groups. There's a section dedicated just to parents. And so when you join Westover Connect as a parent or guardian, you would also be included in this section. And so I try to keep updated information in here, things that you might want to know. So it is a great way for you to communicate with each other too. So I wanted to just show you that there's a directory, and the directory, of course, is only as good as whoever is registered for this site. But just really quickly, I'm just going to show you, this is the map feature. So in the map feature, you can see where people are. So when they're registered, you can see where people are, and you can keep zooming out and get to the whole world actually. But if you zoom in on areas, you can even get closer and find, the names of actual people who are living in these areas. So it's, you can find out people who are in your neighborhood or in your town. I mean, it's a great way to start connecting with people. Some of the other resources that are in here, there's a new feature called a business directory. We don't have any yet, but if you had your own business and wanted to share information with the Westover community, you could add your business into here. The resources section is great. There's an opportunity, for example, to see every single yearbook that Westover has. So I'm just going to pull one up real quick because some of them are pretty fun. And you can go in and page through yearbooks. So just some fun ways to get connected back with Westover. I will encourage you to join Westover Connect and get on here. One of the things that we're really excited about is the opportunity to post jobs or post internships. You can offer to mentor if you're looking for a mentor, or if you're interested in being a mentor. You can help our current students or our young alums get connected into the community. So lots of good stuff on there. And I would love to see many of you on there. We will do our best to share information in lots of ways. Westover Connect is just one of the ways that we will be sharing information. Does anybody have any questions about Westover Connect?
Mary, can anyone post?
Anyone can post. Yep. And you can also, when you're in the, so in the feed, it's just like Facebook. You can do it just like Facebook. It just only goes to the Westover community. And if you go to the specific parents section, you are just posting to parents. If you post on the main page, you're posting to everyone, and that would include alums and faculty and staff, whoever is on there. And in the directory, you can find each other. So in the directory, even if someone isn't registered, you can go in and send a message to someone through the directory. And it's not giving them your email address or taking their email address. You're communicating through the site. And they would get a notice that an email was sent to them and they could go in and find it. So it's a nice way to communicate, and you don't need to know people's email addresses. So it respects some of the confidentiality. The final things that I wanted to talk about are the Parents Association. I'm so grateful that we've had this call today. I hope that this information has been helpful. We are always looking for what it is that you want to learn, what you want to know about, who you want to hear from. So please, please, please be in touch with Ashley. If there are presenters that you're looking for, we are having another call coming up in a couple of weeks. And so many more opportunities to learn and to hear more information. The Parents Association Executive Committee is a small group of parents and guardians who take more of a leadership role. And if that's something that sounds interesting to you, please get in touch with Ashley, and she can help you find an inquiry form, and we can get started on consideration for the executive committee. We have a couple of minutes left for questions. And so I know many of our presenters are still on the line. So if you have questions, we do have a little bit of time. Feel free to unmute yourself or put questions in the chat.
Ashley, if you need any help, it's Sue O'Brien. I'm more than happy to help with anything. I'm very close to the school, especially prom. I have no problem helping out, doing whatever's needed. So you can definitely get my number. I can put in the chat or message you, whatever.
Awesome. Yeah, send me, probably an easiest just to send me an email. That way I have your information. But yes, we always looking for volunteers. So I will definitely get in touch with you.
All right, great.
I noticed Caitlin put a note in there about submitting your re-enrollment committee. If anybody has any questions that are relevant to the group, you're welcome to ask. If you had one-on-one questions, you're probably better off contacting Caitlin directly.
I'm unmuting for a second. Hi, it's Marla again. I'm so glad to see so many people here, but it's hard because I don't know exactly who everybody is. And I was just wondering if you'd be willing, parents and guardians, to just put your names in the chat and who your child is. Because I just would love to, maybe someday I'll get to meet you and then I'll be able to say, oh yeah, I remember seeing you at the Zoom. But it's hard on Zoom because some people's names are here, but I don't know, like, who is Porsche Design? Is that a person whose last name is Porsche? I don't remember a student named Porsche. There's Lawanda dates, okay. And the birds, wonderful. And Mrs. Bradbury Pape, fantastic. Oh, Susan, very nice. Oh, Melissa Lefebvre, beautiful. Oh, this is great. Thank you. This is so nice. I really appreciate this. Oh, Mrs. Etchie, great. Oh, people from far away too. This is amazing. Jeez. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. That's great. Wonderful. Thank you.
Well, Ashley, we may have done it. We may have gotten the whole call in with 4 minutes left to spare.
Yay.
Now that is an accomplishment.
That's
I
right.
feel like that is my skill set. Sticking with an agenda and moving it along.
Good job.
Well, I will stay on the call until 8:15. So you are, thank you so much for being on the call today. It is so wonderful to see you, and I can't wait until we have more opportunities to actually connect in person.
Agreed. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you, Mary, for having us.
Good
Yes,
night.
thank you very much. Good night.
Okay, there's only a few of us left. I
Yep.
think we're probably pretty good to go, huh?
Yeah, we were like the
Alright.
hangers on.
That's right. Well, it's nice to see you guys. Thank you so much. This
Nice
was
to see you too.
this was good. We did it. right?
Yeah, it was good. I think there was a ton of really good information. So that was, I
Yeah.
love that. I mean, I
Good.
love hearing what's happening and feeling connected to, what's happening
And
there.
I'll make sure to get all of those. I'll put them on Westover Connect, everything that we talked about today. And I'll also get it in the next weekly newsletter, weekly email. So that there's
Awesome.
at least a couple of places we have information.
I appreciate that.
All right.
I do.
All right.
Awesome.
Thanks, you
Well, have a
guys.
good night.
Good night.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.